Amityville Horror just a scary ghost story, or something more sinister? On the morning of November 13, 1974, one suburban house in Amityville, New York was transformed into something more. But instead of a peaceful home, Ronald DeFeo Jr. snuck around the house with a rifle and shot his parents and 4 of his siblings while they slept. Subsequently, he claimed he'd been hearing voices telling him to kill. Some still hold to the theory that these were the demonic inhabitant of 112 Ocean Avenue, the infamous Amityville horror house. Numerous families have lived at 108 Ocean Avenue since the 1974 killings, which gained widespread attention. Meanwhile, the house has been a popular tourist destination ever since the alleged paranormal events that took place there inspired a wave of books and movies like the Amityville Horror. Even though DeFeo committed real murders, could he have been possessed by the same evil spirits that plagued the Litz family after they moved in? The Amityville Horror House has been the site of one of the most gruesome crimes and most infamous purported hauntings in recent history. Serial killer Ronald DeFeo Jr. and the case of Amityville. On the night of November 13, 1974, 23-year-old Ronald DeFeo Jr. killed his parents, Louise and Ronald DeFeo Sr., and his 4 older siblings, Dawn, 13, Allison, 12, and John Matthew, 9, with a .35 caliber rifle while they slept. DeFeo's defense team tried to enter an insanity plea despite his confession to the crimes. DeFeo said he couldn't help the destructive thoughts that ran through his head. This statement, along with the murders, gave rise to the urban legend that the house at 112 Ocean Avenue was haunted, and that the DeFeos were actually the house's intended victims. A look at DeFeo Jr.'s life, however, reveals an alternate interpretation. The boy had a traumatic upbringing due to his abusive father and neglectful mother. Not only did he lash out at his father, but he also threatened him with a gun. His parents hoped that giving him permission to stay at home and a small allowance each week would be helpful. There wasn't much of a job market for DeFeo Jr. DeFeo Jr. left work that day and went straight to a bar. He called and called but no one answered, and he vented his frustration to the customers. He left, but returned the next morning at 6:30 a.m., shouting, "Please lend a hand and save me. The last I heard, both of my parents were shot." At approximately 3:15 a.m., all 6 family members were discovered dead in their beds. They had been shot with a rifle and were lying on their stomachs. There was no indication that they had fought or that they had been drugged. There were no reports of gunfire in the area. All anyone heard was the DeFeo dog barking. DeFeo Jr.'s shifting stories about where he was when his family was killed range from being at a bar at the time to mob hitman Louis Fellini killing his family in front of DeFeo Jr.'s eyes. On October 14, 1975, he was tried and found guilty after admitting that he had shot and killed his own family. DeFeo Jr.'s lawyer, William Weber, attempted to enter an insanity plea, but the prosecution argued that DeFeo Jr. was just a drug addict who knew exactly what he was doing that night. On 6 counts of second-degree murder, he was found guilty and given 6 consecutive sentences ranging from 25 years to life in prison. The real-life horror behind the legendary Amityville mansion. However, the alleged haunting of the Amityville horror house did not begin until the Litz family moved in during the month of December 1975. George and Kathy Litz bought a 4,000 square foot home for $80,000, thinking it was a steal. However, 28 days later, they reportedly left the home due to terrifying incidents. During this month, we experienced a wide range of unsettling phenomena, including reports of green slime oozing from the walls, eyes peering into the house from the outside, eyes staring at Kathy in bed, foul odors, and Kathy allegedly levitating in bed. The time of death for the DeFeo family members was precisely 3:15 a.m., when George said he woke up every night. Based on these accounts, Jay Anson wrote The Amityville Horror in 1977, which in turn inspired the 1979 film of the same name and its 2005 remake. The book was a huge success, and the movie is now considered a classic, bringing in hordes of horror fans. The book by Anson was based on 45 hours of recorded interviews with family members. Furthermore, Christopher Quaratino, one of the three Lutz children, has verified the occurrence of the ghostly events. However, he added that his stepfather, George Lutz, lied about the severity of the events. George Lutz was interested in paranormal phenomena and made attempts to contact the other side, but he was also financially motivated to sell his story to the media due to the family's substantial debt. DeFeo Jr.'s lawyer, Weber, claimed that his client had concocted the ghost story while drunk with his friend Anson and that it was all an elaborate hoax. In the end, the home is still just a house. For decades, nothing has changed except the hands it has passed through and the fact that its address has shifted. The public's interest in the Amityville horror house, however, continued unabated long after its location had been altered. Many people, even now, would love to experience the horror of being inside the Amityville horror house. Today, at 112 Ocean Avenue, inside the Amityville house, the Dutch colonial house has really appreciated in value recently. The house's 5 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, and boathouse on a canal off Long Island Sound will likely attract affluent buyers. Despite its attractiveness, it was foreclosed upon in 1977 after the Lutz family had moved out. After that, Riverhead Raceway owners James and Barbara Cromartie took possession. Attempting to protect themselves from stalkers and keep the house's fluctuating value in mind, the Cromarties moved the Amityville horror house from 112 Ocean Avenue to 108. The address of the house from the Amityville horror has remained 108 since the film's initial release. When their 10 years there had passed without incident, they decided to sell to Peter and Jean O'Neill in 1987. In 1997, the O'Neills parted ways with their home to a man named Brian Wilson for a cool $310,000. The most recent sale of the home was in 2017 for $605,000. The exterior of the New Jersey house used in the 1979 film Amityville Horror was first listed for sale in 2011 at $1.45 million, before being reduced to $1.35 million. Odalise Fragoso was asked right away if the 1920s building was haunted when she listed it for sale. She clarified that she was simply divorcing her husband and that ghosts had nothing to do with the sale. Fragoso said she had only seen bits and pieces of the popular movie, but her kids see it constantly. The supposedly exaggerated book and its Hollywood adaptation seem to be at the heart of the Amityville house and its related New Jersey home's enduring popularity. True believers in the paranormal continue to make the trip to the location in the hopes of making ghostly contact.